Footy's back. First team naming Tuesday of 2024. I wasn't planning to make a video. I haven't really prepared, but I'm so damn hyped about this team. So damn hyped about what's going to happen on Sunday. I thought, bugger it, I'm going to jump on here and share a few thoughts. Let's get into it. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. A little bit of an unplanned episode tonight, but damn, I'm hyped about this team on the weekend, so I thought, why not jump on here and share a few thoughts. I'm just going to quickly run through the team, share one or two thoughts, a couple of insights on each of the players. You know, there's some guys in here I've never even seen play, so I'm just going to be basing it on a quick bit of research I did before jumping on here tonight, but just too excited to not get on and share my thoughts. So first up, at fullback, Tane Tuapiki. Great to see him get first shot. We all know what he's capable of. That speed, the electric feet around the ruck amongst tired forwards. Very excited to see how he goes. You know, I think he's about 24, 25 this year, so he's no spring chicken. He'll be looking to cement any opportunity he gets to get in that first grade squad this year, because he won't want to hang around for another 2 or 3 years playing cup with the ability he's got. So I really hope he sticks with us, and I really hope he shows just exactly what he's got to offer, so that if anything happens to the challenge, God forbid, he's our man to step up and take the reins in 2024. On the left wing, Setu too, one of my favourite players out of Cup. I've actually, I've had an eye on him before the COVID days, before he unluckily had to drop out of our system. Great to see him come back in last year. Very exciting player, capable on the wing, fullback, centres at a stretch. He's not a huge guy, but quick, strong for his size, and just very consistent. I don't think he'd let anybody down if he ever had to come up and play in the first grade. So I'm excited to see how he goes getting his chance up against some quality opposition in the weekend. So the centres has probably been one of the biggest points of discussion over the off-season. Which side does Roger play on, and who gets to partner him? This first team gives us a quick insight into what Webbie's thinking, as we see RTS is going to be on the left. That means, first up, we see Ali Lautaua get the shot on the right-hand centre. I think this is an indication that it might come down to him or Rocco Berry to see who partners with RTS. That will be really tough on Adam Pompey. That said, he's more than capable of playing on the right side, which we saw last year at the beginning of the season, so we're going to see three guys fighting it out for the right-hand side. Ali Lautaua gets the first shot this weekend. I think he's going to have an absolute outstanding game. Everyone's been talking up how he's had a great off-season, so even Webby talking him up. Look for him to light it up. As I said, RTS on the left-hand side. Doesn't surprise me. He's got that left foot step. I think that matches him playing on the left-hand side there. I like the combination of him and Chanel playing down that left-hand side. They've played a lot of footy together, so it makes sense for me to have that combination there. How does he come back after a couple of years off? How does he go in an unfamiliar position? He's a professional. He's class. I just believe he's going to step straight in there and shine, so excited to see how he goes. On the left-hand wing there, we've got Marcelo Montoya. Just like we saw last year, he got the start in the first game against the Tigers where he smashed Charlie Stain. Can't wait to see how he goes this year. I think, there's a little bit of competition there. A few fans criticise his defence and, drifting in and out of games at times. For me, I don't think you can question his effort, the metres he makes us. He runs like a ball of granite. But he's going to have guys potentially like Ali Lautaua, Ed Cossey coming up behind him, so he's going to have to be on his game to maintain that position for the whole season for me, but I expect him to start strong this weekend. Then we get to the halves. It doesn't surprise me the combination they've gone for, but I probably would have leant towards the other way around, but they've gone for Chanel at 5'8" and Luke Metcalf at halfback. It's probably a reflection of Chanel being left-footed, left-handed, playing on the left-hand side of the field is maybe a little bit more natural, and likewise I think Luke Metcalf's tendency is to run right, which is a little bit of a hindrance for him playing in 5'8" on the other side of the field. So naturally this may suit them. I think the way Chanel plays is probably more halfback-like, so I'm really curious to see who plays the general role and who plays the kind of X-factor role. I do know that Metcalf rates himself as a long-term option at halfback there. Let's see how it goes. Both these guys really excite me. Just like RTS, can Chanel hit the ground running? I genuinely believe he will. I've got a lot of faith in that young fella. By all accounts, he's just been training the house down. He's bulked up. He's ready to go. Can't wait to see how these two fellas go out there. Then into the forwards. I think this is great to see Bunty get the start there along with Tom Ali at prop. I think both of these guys sort of faded off towards the end of last season there. Um, Tom Ali, I think a lot of people were really excited and thinking, can he become like the next Spencer Leniu? Not the biggest prop, but high energy, great step at the line, awesome defense. He started the season extremely solidly off the bench, but petered off a little towards the end, reflecting on the fact he got dropped down to cup there. He'll be looking to come back and cement a spot on the bench there, show that he's more than capable of taking up a space once AFB moves on. Likewise with Bunty. He's definitely got his fans, but he's got his detractors. I've always been a huge fan of what he contributes on defense. I just really hope he's been working on his running technique over the holidays. Maybe a little bit of a step at the line, maybe getting a little bit lower, because he hits that line extremely hard, but just doesn't make those post-contact meters. Add a little bit of variety to the way he hits the line, starts making a few meters. I think there's a spot there for him for the majority of the season coming off the bench there. At hooker, Freddie Lussick obviously gets the first nod there. They were never going to bring Wayne Egan out here, and we know that Freddie's he's the deputy. A lot of questions around him though. Hasn't extended. Does he want to go back home? Is he one of these guys that's been reported to being homesick? I don't know, but I genuinely hope he sticks around because I think he showed a lot of development under Webby. He's the most experienced. He has the most solid all-round game of the backup hookers at this stage, so it'll be a bit of a shame if he doesn't decide to extend, but I hope he starts his season off well, gets excited, we go well, and he decides to extend out. Then into the second row, interesting to see Jackson gets a start here, and Jacob Laban, one of the big stars in the making. A lot of talk about how well he's been going over the off-season. We saw a great progression from him in Cup in 2023. A lot of people thought he might have even got a debut, and it's highly likely he'll get one this year. Very exciting, very quick, very skillful back rower. A lot to like about this young man. When you see the likes of him and some of these other fellas on the bench here, 2 or 3 years down the track, the Warriors are going to have a seriously competitive forward pack. And Kalani Going getting the nod at 13. Captain of our cup team last year. He's more experienced than a lot of these other young fellas coming through. Great to see him make his debut against the Dolphins last year in trying circumstances where we got done, having rested a lot of players, but I think he was one of the shining lights in that game, showed that he's more than capable of delivering at NRL level. So look for him to take a step up and sort of cement himself as a genuine bench option. Then we get into the interchange and the reserves, and I believe all of these guys will probably get game time. So first up, we've got Eddie Eramir Toyava. He's a guy who is very similar mold to Jacob Laban. He's not huge, but he's very physical, fast, great ball runner, has a good offload him and edge back rower there. Had an outstanding, I think he played about 6 games in Cup as well as SG Ball last year. Another exciting prospect, so good to see what he has to offer. Zaya Maiu'u. People will constantly hear me talking him up. I've been excited about him since I saw him first play. I think he played every Cup game last year. Developed from an edge back row into a prop in 2023. He's not the biggest guy on the field, but damn, he runs with some aggression, some power. He's got great footwork. Some of the highlights of where he made breaks, able to put people away. Skills beyond a lot of what other props have got in this competition. So I think he has the potential to become a David Fafita kind of runner with the style and the speed that he hits the line. A lot of pressure putting that kind of comparison on a young man, I know, but by all accounts, all of the players have been talking him up. Webby's talked him up over the off season, so I think there's every opportunity for him to cement a bench prop role in this 2024 team. So a lot of pressure on Bunty and Tom Ali to have a guy like that coming through. Tanastawa Smith, another young player capable of playing prop and lock. He said himself he's probably more suited to prop. Not a huge guy, but he reminds me of a young Jazz Tavanga with the speed, the intensity, the strength for his size. Not a tall guy, but man, he's got some solid legs, and he can hit. Some of the hits he put on in Cup last year on veteran forwards, man, he made me smile. I'm going to start calling him the Axe. Reminds me of Trevor Gilmister. Not a huge guy, but man, he's got that technique down off pat. So really excited to see how he goes there. And Leka Halasima, SG Ball Player of the Year, came up into Cup, had a really strong contribution there. There's a lot of talk that he's the highest potential of all of these young players coming through, and that's comparing him against the likes of Zion and Jacob Laban, Dimitri Sifakula, all of which I think are going to be solid NRL players going forward. Does he take the step up this year and really show that he's capable of competing at the top level? Only time will tell, but keep an eye out for him coming off the bench in the weekend. Patrick Moimoi, yet another guy who I'm extremely excited about. Ever since I saw his first game in SG Ball, I just thought, man, this is a young, in his prime Joey Leilua from all the good aspects, but a lot more calm, a lot more controlled. The arms on this guy, they're bigger than my thighs. Push the likes of Ali Lauatea, Rocco Berry, and Adam Pompey this year. Etuate Fukuoka, for those who don't know, he started out in SG Ball and made it into Cup last season. He's an ex-rugby union halfback, playing hooker, very solidly built. Imagine Perry Whipper in his prime, capable of playing a 14 bench hooker come lock kind of running forward cover. He reminds me of a guy like Haveli, former Warrior playing for South now in that 14 role, who can come on and play a really energetic running role, but also a very capable hooker. He's got all of the skills, that chip and chase. He's got the ability to run straight over top of someone. He's got a beautiful pass on him. So I'm very excited to see him, being promoted up into a development contract just after one season. Shows that what the club sees in him. So we've got some very good quality young hookers coming through the SG Ball and Harold Matts as well there. So, he's just another one to add to the list there, pushing up behind Freddie Lussick. Tony Tupau Tenua. Sorry, man, that's a very difficult name for a dyslexic man to pronounce. I had to Google this young fellow. I didn't even realize he was a part of our squad. Ex-Knights prop, playing Cup last season for the Knights. Didn't even realize we'd brought him across, so it's great to see we've added a young prop to the stocks here that we haven't seen before. Couldn't tell you anything about him other than that. Looking forward to seeing, is he a big fella? What can he bring? Is he a genuine option there, for someone that can replace the likes of AFB when he moves on? Ben Farr, great to talk to him today. I'm really excited to see how he goes. I thought he was a genuine half option for the Cup team this year, but he seems to much prefer playing fullback. So yet another, exciting fullback to add to our stocks there, with Tane, with CNK, with RTS, with the youngest at Pasikala from the SG Ball. So great to see us having a bit of depth there at fullback, but he's a genuine option for like a 14. He's played a hooker, played halfback, 5'8", centre, wing, fullback. Having a guy like that on the bench who can cover every position in the backline, but hooker as well, that maybe put him in a very interesting stead for the future once the likes of Dylan Walker retire. He has got some serious speed as well when he's playing at the back and give him some space. So look forward to seeing how he goes. Luke Hanson, young prospect. I believe he's a 5'8". I know he's definitely a half out of the Panthers system. A lot of shock over there from fans when he was signed out from underneath them. Initially, there was talk that we were going after Jet Cleary, Nathan's brother, but it turned out we went for him. Webby will know him well, having seen all their pathways. So great to see another quality half coming in from Australia there, like we've seen from Jesse Sorok in the SG Ball team. He's a seriously quality 5'8" as well. So good to see a little bit of that Aussie influence coming into our halves. Moala Graham Tulfa, another guy I'm a bit of a fan of. Very solid guy, not quite as tall as the likes of Ed, but very capable of making those big runs off his line. Very solidly built. I think he plays in the centres as well, so a bit of versatility. Good to see he's still around because I hadn't seen a lot of him over the off-season. Then we've got Geronimo Doyle, He's a fullback, played about 6 games, I think, for Cup last year. I honestly don't recall a lot about him because I didn't see a lot of the games that he was playing in because they weren't televised. But another fullback to add to the stocks here, probably capable of playing for various positions in the outside backs here. So let's see what he has to offer. Next up, we've got Quinlan Tupou. Another player I hadn't noticed playing for the Warriors. I'm sorry, I don't know his background with us, whether he played any Cup or SG ball last year. I don't think he did. But he's a former junior Kiwis captain or under-16s captain. He came through the Chiefs rugby union pathways as a second 5. Watching his highlights, he's not huge. He's only about 1.78 meters, I think. But he's very solidly built. He puts on a massive fit. Very quick, got a good kicking game, passing game, elusive, good step on him. I'm guessing he's going to be a midfield option for us. Excited to see what he has to offer because I didn't know he was part of our system as well. And finally, last but not least, Paul Roach. A big fan of his as well. He reminds me a lot of his older brother, Nate, who unfortunately, never really managed to reach the peak of his powers due to injury. But it was good to see when he got a debut last year in that Dolphins game, like with Kalani going. He stepped up, held his own, showed he's more than capable of delivering at first grade level. A former half, turned into a halfback, so that shows he's got a bit of versatility as well. Exciting to see how he goes. Glad that he's still in our system. He's a little bit older than some of these other young guys, so it's good to have that more mature head. So we've got a lot of variety, experienced older guys, but very exciting young talent coming off the bench. In some ways, I'm more excited about the bench than I am about the starting lineup. But probably the key points for me is the centres. Ali Lauatea, does he cement that spot ahead of Rocco Berry and Adam Pompey? RTS, does he hit the ground running? Does he deliver what we expect? I think he will. Chanel Harris-Tavita, does he show enough that he's more than capable of starting round 1 and not having to start out in Cup to find his feet back? That's some of the really key points that I think will influence the first round lineup up against the Sharks here. But again, so many young, exciting players here to prove that they're more than capable of covering for injuries if needed. I can't wait. Sunday couldn't come soon enough. Live on Sky Sport, so we're going to see it. We're not going to have to worry about streaming. Get amongst it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to see who are you most excited to see, who are you most interested to see. Are there any areas of concern? We see that the Tigers have stacked their lineup with quite a few NRL players there. Api Coruscant, Papali'i, Clemmer, Charlie Stain, they will be hurting from last year, us giving them a kicking when they put too many young guys in against our young fellas. So they've stacked their team a little bit more than we have, but I believe we've got a lot more young talent than they have. So one-eyed Warriors, you know me. Let's go, boys. Get amongst it, smash it up, and show us that 2024 is our year. Let's go.